Hey cousin, what's going on, guys? It's Amber the Gemini here, and we're going to be getting a little personal today. Well, actually, a lot of personal today. I'm going to be discussing with you guys one of my biggest things that have held me back as an artist, as a creative, and it's just something that I've finally been able to tackle. And I want to share it with you guys, open up just a little bit, maybe help someone else who might be going through the same thing, or someone who can just relate in general. Now, when you talk about being a creative, when you talk about being an artist, whether that's musically or any other creative field, your main thing, most people's purpose is, hey, I want other people to enjoy what it is that I offer, what I'm creating, and all of those things. And that requires a certain level of being seen. Now, for me, that was something that I struggled with, which I know to most people, it probably may not make sense. Like, how can you be afraid of being seen? Especially as an artist, you're supposed to be out there. You're supposed to be seen in its literal form. You're supposed to be in front of the camera, begging the algorithms to put you in all the right places. And people are supposed to consume what you have. And the only way for you to do that and to present it to people is to be seen. Now, for me, like I said, that was a huge struggle, and I'm glad that I was finally able to work through that. But we're going to get into why that is one of the most common things that holds other creatives back and how you can get through that. For starters, when I say being seen, I'm not talking about numbers, views, none of that. It's about exposure, vulnerability, misinterpretation. It's other people in the public being able to decide who and what you are based off of one moment, one clip, one song that could be taken in any type of way, and you have zero control over that. And that is probably one of the scariest things about being seen, because that level of exposure feels so unsafe. And to be real, the main reason is because when you're unseen, your work is still yours, your intentions are still set in place, and they belong to you. You don't have to explain yourself to strangers who have made this version of you that never even existed. I really think that people assume that the fear itself is failure when it's not. Sure, I've failed plenty of times, whether creatively, financially, publicly, and privately, all of that. And the failure does bruise your ego, because nobody wants to feel like they're not doing something. But that failure doesn't strip you of who you are at your core at all. All of that remains intact. But being seen does. Being seen means that people will project onto you. They take in your art and then tell you what your story is. They take years of nuance and they flatten it into something more digestible for them. And not only that, they're gonna praise you for the parts of you that you don't even recognize. And in the same breath tell you you're supposed to be grateful for that. And that just never sat right with me. It just, no. And it doesn't help that the industry now has made everything 10 times worse. So being seen and that visibility not only feels unsafe, it has become unsafe mentally, creatively, emotionally, all of that. Vulnerability has become currency. Look at the state of social media right now. Authenticity has been repackaged as branding. And then if you don't offer yourself up on a personal level enough, you disappear. Look at how many times they encourage people to post their day-to-day, all day, every day, just for people to stay in the algorithm. People are sacrificing themselves at the core for the sake of visibility. And what becomes the result of all of that? You start negotiating with yourself. You scramble to find and hold on to pieces of yourself because you've been forced and convinced that giving all of yourself is necessary to be a creative. You start holding on to songs that feel too personal, too close to the bone. You start, oh, well, I gotta wait for this timing, and it's this strategy, or my energy has to be right. All of these things are excuses at its core. They become excuses. You become a prisoner to your own mind, a prisoner to your own art, a prisoner to the people, a cell that you assigned yourself. When the reality is, it's just fear. It's literally just that fear of being seen, the what ifs, trying to hold on to something so personal and just afraid to give it to the world. And that's not a bad thing, but that's what's holding you back. And for me, the hard part to admit was that some days my resistance was wisdom. Some days it was exactly what I needed to be doing. But then other days it was literally just that fear, because I do want my music and my art to live outside of me. I do want impact. I do want freedom. But I don't want to lose myself in the process of all of that just for the sake of being seen. Underneath all the fancy clothes and the verbiage, maybe the fear isn't even just a fear of being seen. I realized that it was a fear of being seen before I was ready to let go of who I was protecting, because there was a version of me at one point that needed privacy to survive. There was a version of me that needed my music to stay close, and so I was just guarding it like some best kept secret. I needed the control. I needed that isolation. I needed to be unseen to survive. And now I've just kind of learned to stand in between the two, find that happy medium and a certain level of balance for myself, where I'm not fully exposed, but I'm not kept up either. I'm not explaining myself, but I am still very particular on what it is that I put out. I'm still very much intentional, not loud, not constant, and definitely not for everyone. And that's okay. But I am on my terms. So I find peace within that at the end of the day. I'm just more selective on the things that I do. And once I release it, whatever happens, happens. The ones that will relate, will relate. The ones that is meant to find will find it. And like I said, I find peace in that. I let it go. At the end of the day, I'm here to do my job. I'm here to do what I feel I'm called to do, which is to create and to put it out there for other people to resonate with. And if that means fewer eyes, but deeper understanding and deeper listeners, I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly fine with that. But like I said, at least I'm being true to myself. I gotta live with me at the end of the day. I can't allow what other people feel. I can't allow what other people think, whether right, wrong, or indifferent, to dictate how I create, when I create, and why, most importantly, I create. So hopefully this was able to shed some light on something else that someone else might be going through. Maybe this is something that you've been feeling as a creative. And if not, that's okay. You guys get to know a little bit more about me. I'm going to keep creating these kind of videos where I let y'all in on my journey, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, musically, all of that. This is the beginning of something new. So y'all take this ride with me. Bye.